Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Leslie. I had a little break, I needed a little bit of time and I moved into my new place and I'm feeling a lot better. I am so much better at dealing with challenges and setbacks now because I've gone through it before, and in life we always go through challenges. It's just something that we can't avoid. So I'm okay, but it was a little bit hard, but now I'm in a better place. So yeah, today I just kind of wanted to go back to the beginning, and I wanted to talk to you about my weight loss, and I wanted to talk to you about why environment is so important. 6 years ago, I got into my really dark depression. I think this was like 2019. This was like the first time I'd experienced depression on such a deep level. I think I might have gone through it when I was younger, but I just never really coined it as depression. It was more so just like being a teenager and having a hard time. So 6 years ago, and that was when I started to gain weight. I was working a job at a popular cafe, drive-through cafe. I was working there and I was eating a lot of food and I was drinking a lot of coffee because that was just what was there, and I was also going through a hard time, and that was pretty much when the weight started to come on. I ended up quitting that job. I lost a few friendships, I lost my ex, and that was a horrible situation. That was not a good relationship. Yeah, it just all piled up. My life changed overnight, and a lot of things happened, and it was hard to deal with because I was still dealing with trauma from like before that. Do you know what I mean? And that is a challenging time in your life when you're at your very early 20s. I'm 26 now, so I would have been 20, and from between 20 and 24, that was a really challenging time for me. And I ended up gaining, I guess, 50 kilos. I'm not sure what I was to start with, but I ended up being 123 kilos. And I was in the deepest, darkest depression of my entire life. I was isolating myself because I didn't want anyone to see me. I stopped seeing my friends and I stopped going out, and I was also living at the same place that I was just living for the last few weeks, which isn't healthy for me, and it's not safe for me, and it's just not a good environment. I don't know, it's hard to explain, it's hard to make it sound like what it was, but it was very dark. So I ended up getting to 123 kilos, right? Couldn't see it in my face, like I guess I'd gotten used to looking like that I just couldn't see how big I really was. And we didn't have a scale at home, and so one day I was at my grandparents' house and I stood on the scale and it said 123 kilos. And then that was when I was like, holy fuck, this isn't okay. I think I was close to being a 3XL. And it wasn't just hard living like that, it was hard being around people and having to smile and pretend like I was okay, because no one was, I don't know, no one said anything, no one helped me. And I guess I am someone that comes across as I like to, I'm okay. Like I come across as like I can handle it myself. I don't know, looking back, it's just, I stood on those scales and I realized that I had to make a change. Like it was not okay anymore. I was killing myself, basically, and I was too young to do that. So I joined a gym. It was like fitness classes, so I just had to show up to the class, they would do the class, and I would go back. And I did that for 3 months straight. I went there 6 times a week, right, for 3 months. And I was walking there and I was walking home, and it was so good for me. And I'm so glad that I did that. And I did stand on the scales when I was there, and I was 123 kilos. And when I finished, I was just over 100 kilos. So I lost 20 kilos in 3 weeks. And that first weight, I've said it in like another video, that first weight really just, it kind of just falls off. It's maintaining it, which is what I'm doing right now. It's maintaining it that is the next part. But that first stage, when you first start to push your body, you notice changes immediately. And so I've made all these changes, and I'm 100 kilos, and that looked so different to 123 kilos. And I've made all these changes, and then I stopped going because I said that I would just do 3 months and that was it. And then I started to put the weight back on because you can train as much as you want, but if you don't change your diet, if you don't change your environment, if you don't change your routines and what you're allowing of yourself, it's overall, you have a less likely chance of actually changing. And so I stopped going every single day, and then the weight slowly started to gain back up, and it was because I was in the environment that I was in. Your environment is so important. Even the last few weeks, I've noticed that when I was living there, and I'm so grateful that I could stay there, and I'm not projecting this onto anyone else, but when an environment is not for you, when an environment is unsafe, when you don't feel comfortable, when you don't feel, I don't know how to explain it, but if you're in the wrong environment, it shows. I think that that goes for how we clean up after ourselves. I'm a very clean person, but taking care of your environment as well is so huge, because that is where you're living. You are a vessel, and that doesn't just go for what you're feeding yourself, it goes for how you're treating yourself, how you feel with the space around you. Your environment is your house, your space. Your environment is who you're spending time around. Your environment is your partner. It's what is around you. And if you don't have healthy things around you, then it's more likely that you are not going to make the decisions that are best for you. Anyway, and then so I was 100 kilos, and then I started to gain weight. Not 20 kilos, I think I got back up to like 105 kilos, and I was like, okay, I need to make a major decision right now, otherwise I'm never getting out of here. It was literally, if I do not make a decision to leave this environment right now, I am going to be stuck here, and if I can't gain this weight back again. And so a few months later, I ended up moving to New Zealand, and I lived there for a year. And I had such an amazing time, and that was when the weight started to come off. I was in better environments. I was surrounded by people who truly loved and supported me, and these are people that I had just met. And it's amazing how someone who you've just met can treat you as good as someone who has known, or better than someone who has known you your entire life, or for a very long time. So I was around these people who were so encouraging, and we were going out, and I was getting out of my comfort zone, and I was having a good time, and I was doing things every day, and the weight started to come off. It was the best thing I've ever done for myself. I'm just gonna say that. It was getting out of my environment, even though it was very drastic. I just think that if I moved myself to 10 minutes down the road, I would have easily come back regularly to this environment, and I would have just been in that same like loop that I was in, and I just needed to get away. And I had been wanting to go to New Zealand for a very long time. Here I am in New Zealand, and I'm losing weight, and I'm happy. And I'm surrounded by good people. And so now I think I was down 10 kilos in the first few months. And I felt amazing. Like, people that I was surrounded by didn't know that I was overweight at one point. And yeah, I was still overweight, but they didn't know that I was 123 kilos overweight. They didn't know that I was so depressed like that. Do you know what I mean? And I liked that. I liked that the people that I was around didn't know of my struggle. I was outgoing, and I was happy, and I was not letting that severe depression get in my way. I was still like eating out, and I was still drinking, and I was still partying, and well, not partying too much. Like, I was also doing like day trips with my friends and being outside and just having such a good time with people that I really enjoyed being around. And so then at the end of that year, that was 2023, at the end of that year, I was working, and I'd worked there for 7 months, I think, and I ended up getting sick, and I ended up getting a really bad like stomach illness. I was just like living my life, enjoying going to work, enjoying seeing my friends, enjoying New Zealand and life. I was having such a good time, and then I got sick, and I had to quit my job. I didn't see my friends anymore because of like, I just slowly started to go back into that depression, isolation, because my sickness was so, it was so sudden. And I spent all of last year being sick, all of last year. And so to go from being 3 or 4 years in a severe depression where I got up to 120 kilos, to go from that and then to go overseas and just enjoy my life and feel like I'm free and like I'd escaped it all, and I was just finally like living my life again, and I was happy. And then to go from that to sickness, it felt like, why is God punishing me? I spent most of last year by myself, and I spent Christmas by myself. I spent Christmas 2023 and 2024 by myself. My stomach illness is not fun, but this time I have the tools of how I escaped it last time. I have the tools now of, okay, so something has suddenly happened. I know that I can get through it because I've already got through so much. There's always going to be humps in the road. And that's just what this has been, you know, that's just what this is. And we're meant to experience a whole range of things in our life. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we are here to experience everything. And that doesn't just mean the good, it does mean the bad. But how amazing is it that because we experience such bad, we can also experience such good. I guess I'm on like 2 different sides of how I see everything I've gone through. On one end, I'm furious. On one end, I'm so upset that I had to go through so much. On one side, I'm just absolutely just staring at God and the universe, and I'm just like, how could you let me go through so much? But then on the other end, I'm like, thank you. Thank you for giving me these lessons. Thank you for giving me these challenges, because I am the strongest I've ever been. I am the bravest I've ever been. I am exactly who I need, who I am supposed to be. I have fully come into myself because I've experienced such darkness, and I've experienced such pain, and I now have so much empathy. Like I was saying, I've experienced such bad. You've probably experienced such bad too. That you can see that everything you've gone through just shows you how much you can overcome, and it showed you just how resilient you are. And like, I guess that you could see it from a point of view of, why is my life so hard all the time, and why is everyone else just out here living life on friggin' easy mode? But isn't it amazing that you've gone through so much, that you have become a better person because of it? And maybe we could be all those things without going through the harshness of life. And I don't believe that we have to go through such deep depression to be all those things, or such like hardship to be all those things. But I do think that it does prove to ourselves how resilient we really are. And so now I did lose 50 kilos. When I was living back with my family the last few months, I did turn to food a few times, but I never shamed myself for it, not once. And that just proves my own growth. I didn't stay in those phases, and I still looked after myself, but it was pretty hard the last few weeks, and probably somehow been the hardest of my entire journey. And yet I can just come here and say, hey, I just had a little break, because I know that I have the tools to get through challenging times, and I know that I will always overcome whatever life throws at me. And so I just wanted to make this video to say that I have lost 50 kilos, and I have bettered my life, and I have learned a lot, and my life still is nowhere near perfect. I still struggle with so many different things, but yeah, there's a lot to be said for people who can go through such hard times, especially on their own, and come out on the other side intact, healthy, a better person, someone who doesn't, I'm not the people who hurt me. I'm still me. I've learned a lot from the last few years. I hope that maybe a little bit of insight into my story might help you go through your own. So once again, I am Leslie. Thank you so much for being here. I will be filming in this spot. I am in this house for 6 months now, and hopefully we can spend some time together. So please follow me, and or subscribe to my channel. I haven't done this in a few weeks apparently. And I'll see you in the next video. I'm gonna drink my cold tea.